Hi guys, and welcome to another ASMR in a tent, and it is absolutely pouring down with rain. So on this dark and stormy night, I thought I would tell you a really creepy story. Now what makes this story worse is that it's actually a true story, so it really did happen. So I'm going to tell you about it now. First of all, I'll tell you about what it actually is about. Back in the 1920s, there was a drink, like an energy drink, a bit like, Monster and Red Bull and all that, and it was called Radithor. 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 And this drink was meant to energize you. It also claimed that it not only gave you like more energy, but it also, could help with headaches and asthma and all these medical sort of conditions. This was meant to be like some really super elixir, if you like. It was invented by someone called William Bailey. Now the problem with William Bailey was he wasn't an actual doctor. I think he dropped out of Harvard, so he wasn't fully qualified. He wasn't a fully qualified doctor, but he invented this drink, which was pretty much water mixed with a little bit of radium. Now, radium is a radioactive component. But back in the day, in the 20s, people said it was actually really good for you and actually gave you it as, for like arthritis, headaches, etc. And also as it was meant to give you this big boost of energy. Anyway, there was this guy called Eben Byers, or Bayers. I'm not sure if it's by Bayers or Byers. Bayers, let's say Eben Bayers, which was short for Ebenezer. And he was a millionaire. He was like really rich, and he played golf as well. And I think what it was is he was on a train one night. He'd spent the night on the train, like slept in this, the carriages with the beds overnight, but had fallen from the bed and injured his arm. So he had this pain in his arm all the time, and he really wasn't happy. So he went to all these doctors, and they sort of didn't really do much for him. The pain was still there. So he went to this doctor, or who wasn't really a doctor, William Bailey, and he prescribed him Radithor. He said, just take a spoonful of this every day, and it will help with all your pain and everything else, So Eben started taking a spoonful of this Radithor every day, and what happened was the pain in his arm completely cleared up. It was fantastic. He also felt more energized, much more energized than he normally did, and it also boosted his libido. He felt absolutely great got so good, he started drinking a lot more than he should have drunk. He was drinking a whole bottle of this Rady Thor. Now the thing is with it is it was very expensive, but he could afford it, so he was alright. And I think that's why a lot of people didn't use it, is because they just purely couldn't afford it, because it was very expensive apparently to mine and purify or whatever. But he's taking like a whole bottle. Now I don't know if you've seen the movie The Fly. What happens is Jeff Goldblum gets into this teleporter pod, and he goes over to this teleporter pod, and it works. He actually does it. But then a fly gets in the pod with him, and so what it does is it breaks down all his molecular structure, teleports it over and rebuilds it all. Only this time it rebuilds it with him and the fly. Now at the beginning, after this happens, again he's full of energy, and he can he's got this super strength, and he's got this great libido and everything. He's but then we all know what happens. And this is kind of like that, because this guy was drinking all this this radium, and he was drinking it for about, I don't know how long it was, but for years. It was about 10 years, I think, every day, at least a bottle. He started off drinking one bottle, he then was drinking 2 bottles a day, and then eventually was drinking up to 3 bottles of this Rady Thor every single day. All of a sudden he started getting these symptoms, and really was feeling unwell. He was getting tired, he was getting headaches, he was getting his teeth started to fall out one by one, and then one day his jaw completely fell off. It fell off, and they had to remove it from his skull. And the thing is, he didn't feel it either. There was no real pain, because the radium had melted all his nerves in his jaw and everything, so he couldn't feel it. But his jaw, was hanging off, and they had to take it off and disattach it, if that's the word, from his skull. Also, his skull was full of holes. He was getting these big, massive holes in his skull because he had radiation poisoning. He'd been drinking so much of this Rady Thor with the radium in it that it had poisoned all his system. They did try to sort of rebuild his jaw, which they did do, but it still didn't look great, and there are pictures online if you want to see him, guys, when it actually first happened. It's horrific to look at. But yeah, eventually he was in hospital, and it had now sort of contaminated all his organs, and everything in the end just shut down, and he died. It was really, the thing is as well, he's nobody really got in any trouble for it. William Bailey denied it was anything to do with the Rady Thor. He said, I drink much more than that every day, and it don't affect me. I feel great, which was, pretty much no question that that's a lie. But yeah, this guy, Ebenezer, I mean, it was immediately after this because this guy was very rich, and like, you know, it made it to the newspapers, and it was put in the newspapers that this, you know, this radium had killed him, so they immediately banned it in the United States. But yeah, I mean, what a really awful, creepy story, you know. Just imagine that, how awful that would be, you know. I mean, he's like sort of taking it first and thinking, oh yeah, it's great, you know, I feel good, I feel, you know, wonderful, and then like all this stuff happening, you know. But that was the thing, is like back in the days when like people were saying, oh, you know, take this every day and it stops your headaches and it helps your arthritis, all thinking it's a genuine, you know, cure for something, when all it was doing was like, you know, making your body radioactive. It was like really, really bad for you. Like horrible, horrible. But yeah, I thought I would tell you that little creepy story. If you like these guys, then please let me know in the comments and I'll find some more. It was just something I was like reading. You know, I just go on Chrome and they have these stories sometimes, and it just happened to come up. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. It's an interesting story. I'll share that with all my mates in the tent. Look at this rain, guys. Let's hope this can sort of stop now. You can stop now, rain, because I've told the creepy story. Can we have it like... Oh, that's better. That's so much better. Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. As I said, please leave a like. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already to my channel. And hit the notification bell so that you never miss a new upload from me. Okay, I will be back very, very soon